There are going to be over 60 plus characters in Avengers 5. This was confirmed by Deadline, and a lot of people are really excited to see the new Avengers team on screen, especially because it's seemingly going to have a lot of characters on its roster. But also, this is going to be coming after Deadpool and Wolverine, and people are really excited for Deadpool and Wolverine because of the cameos that we are going to see. Now, don't get me wrong, the story for the movie and the action and everything else is going to be amazing. The cameos are just one thing that fans are really excited for, but we're not just going to be getting cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine. According to a recent report, there are going to be some pretty big fan favorite cameos in Avengers 5 in the form of variants. Plus, not to mention, we have recently heard that Marvel Studios wanted Robert Downey Jr. to return as a variant of Iron Man in Deadpool and Wolverine, probably for the post-credit of that movie. However, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Now, we know that it wasn't because Robert Downey Jr. didn't want to come back. He's already stated that he would love to come back. He's already said that Iron Man is a part of who he is, something that he could never truly step away from, in which, yeah, he made that character on screen. Much like many people view Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool kind of as the same person, that's pretty much how people view Robert Downey Jr. and Tony Stark. We also know that it's not because Marvel didn't want him back. We already know people are going to be returning, people who are already dead or retired, like Steve Rogers / could possibly be dead. We never really did get closure about that. But we know that Marvel Studios is going to bring these characters back. In fact, we've heard that Chris Evans is going to return as the Human Torch in Deadpool and Wolverine. But most people believe that it is because they want to use Iron Man's variant, Robert Downey Jr. playing that variant, in another movie, and that could be Avengers 5 according to this new report. Alex Perez from the Cosmic Circus, a trusted insider, recently did an Ask Me Anything on his Discord, and he talked a lot about Avengers 5, and one of the things he said, concluding his conversation about it, was this: "Lastly, I heard one more interesting thing that could give you at least an indication of where the story is headed," speaking about Avengers 5. "Expect variants for these upcoming movies. Variants of who or what I am unable to specifically disclose at this time, except some are fan favorites and others are new faces." Now, right away, when everybody hears fan favorites, I think everybody immediately goes to Iron Man, Captain America, Black Widow, our beloved Avengers and the actors that played them who are no longer with us. This seemingly implies that they could actually return as soon as Avengers 5. And as far as the new faces are concerned, I'm sure these are going to be probably X-Men. X-Men characters that we haven't seen even in the Fox universes, and new actors playing them. I also think maybe even we could see some cosmic entities, but that's a whole other video. Now, the fact that variants are going to show up in Avengers 5 just makes sense, because this is really what's going to dive us even further into the multiverse saga, even further into variants and alternate universes. Plus, not to mention, this is going to be coming off of Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie that is going to even further explore the multiverse than we've gone so far. So coming off of that movie, we're going into Avengers 5. And the TVA is going to be deeply involved in Deadpool and Wolverine, and according to Alex Perez, the TVA is going to play a very central part in this story of Avengers 5. In fact, he says, expect some of the Loki fan favorites to return. So of course, we're thinking Mobius, we're thinking Sylvie. Deadline actually reported in their 60 plus character report that Loki and Sylvie could return as well. So as the multiverse gets more and more in danger due to incursions and Kang, we would assume that Loki would become more involved with the overall story, and it looks like that could happen in Avengers 5. Plus, with so many characters said to be in this film, it would make sense that not all are from our universe. And it would make sense that as the multiverse begins to slowly fall apart and incursions happen everywhere throughout the multiverse, there will be other really intelligent, really smart, genius characters out there in other universes who would realize that they have to go explore these incursions and determine what is causing them. And this is something interesting where the Fantastic Four plot actually comes into play. And we will talk about the Avengers 5 roster, who Alex Perez says that he's heard all of these names mentioned for the official roster. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But Kevin Feige confirmed on the official Marvel Studios podcast that fans were essentially right when they noticed that, one, the film is going to take place in the 60s. Kevin Feige said, yes, it is a period film, but also the New York cityscape is not the same as ours. It is definitely more advanced. So even though this other universe is set in the past, in the 60s, it is still more advanced than our universe. So we can also assume that there are other universes out there that are way more advanced, probably in the future as well. After all, let's not forget, Kang the Conqueror does come from from the future. So perhaps there is an alternate universe out there where there's an Iron Man variant who does come from the future, who is much more advanced than anything that we've seen so far. And if Kang is still going to be one of the main villains or the main villain of Avengers 5, then perhaps there are other variants out there who track Kang down to our universe. Perhaps there's another Avengers team out there and Tony Stark leads this team. And who's to say that the other Avengers team can't actually be the same characters? It could be Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow back together again. Now, I doubt they'd throw all of them into one movie, although it is an Avengers film, but Alex P did say we're going to see some fan favorites and some new characters as well. So perhaps some variants from another universe come to our universe to track down and fight Kang and try to stop some incursions, and that's where we get Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, maybe Chris Evans' Captain America with Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow as well, but hopefully some other new X-Men characters along with them. I think this would be really cool, and I think it would start to set the premise that a lot of characters are going to come together from a lot of different universes in Avengers Secret Wars. Alright, now for the roster. Alex Perez said, who should you guys expect? A lot of the new heroes that have taken up the forefront of the latest MCU stories. Some of the characters I've heard repeated over the last few months from sources that would join the lineup include Captain America, Sam Wilson, Falcon, Joaquin Torres, Wong, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Shang-Chi, Katie, Black Panther, Ironheart, She-Hulk, Hulk, Thor, Valkyrie, Spider-Man, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Clea, America Chavez, Miss Marvel, Stature, who is Cassie Lang, Kate Bishop, Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. He also states not sure who will be replacing Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp, but last I heard, the Ant-Man and the Wasp duo would be one of the central motives in this story. And if you haven't heard, Evangeline Lilly announced her retirement from acting, so we believe that she is no longer going to play the Wasp. Now, I think a lot of these are who you would expect to be a part of the team. This is who Alex P has heard from sources, but one I want to specifically hone in on real quick is Monica Rambeau. Because I believe that this has some pretty big implications, because right now Monica Rambeau is in an X-Men universe. Remember, at the end of the Marvels, we found Monica Rambeau in that other universe in which the X-Men seem to be pretty prominent. So if Monica Rambeau is back in our universe as a part of the new Avengers team, that also means that characters from this other universe could be there as well, and perhaps that is where we get these fan favorite variants from. This could be Professor X. Obviously, we've already seen Beast, and he mentioned Professor X. We could see Cyclops, we could see Rogue, Iceman, Jean Grey, any of the famous X-Men, and perhaps in this universe they might have an Avengers team as well. This is where we could get Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Chris Evans, Captain America, Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow. This could be that team that has the Avengers and the X-Men on the same team, unlike our universe where we only ever had the Avengers, no X-Men. But it is clear that Monica Rambeau is going to play a very important role in connecting those two different universes, that X-Men universe that we saw and our universe, and it sounds like that is going to come to fruition, that story, in Avengers 5, which makes sense because building up to Secret Wars, that's where everything is really going to start to connect and then fall apart. Because remember, in one of the Secret Wars storylines, the entire multiverse is destroyed. It's gone. So we're going to see a lot of the destruction, a lot of the collisions happen before Secret Wars. So get ready for worlds and universes to collide, and it looks like it starts to happen, one in Deadpool and Wolverine, but really more so in Avengers 5. So let me know how excited you are about that in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up to date on the MCU. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.